For our next dish, we're gonna make some roasted beets and yams with a fresh parsley lemon topping. So to get started, have your oven at 425 degrees. And I have here 2 big red beets. We're actually not really gonna do anything to them except just chop these little ends off, these little tail ends. But the part that's kind of like knobby, you can just leave that intact. So you're gonna wrap these in tin foil and just shove them in the oven. I'm gonna put them on a tray so that the juices don't kind of seep down and make our oven really messy. Oh, and be careful because see how violent this looks? The juice of these can stain, and it can stain your fingers and it can stain your clothes. So just be careful. So next we're gonna take a great big yam, and I already peeled this, so make sure that you peel them first. And for this recipe, I'm gonna use 2. And just cut them into thin circles, like that. Try to keep them as uniform as possible. So I guess it's about like a 1/4 inch or so thick. And so the red beets have been cooking now for about a half an hour. They're gonna take about an hour and 15 minutes in total. So for these yams, we're gonna cook them at the same temperature, but just put them in a little bit later. Okay, so once you have all of your slices, I'm just using this like bread tin, and I'm kind of stacking them up and forming them again like that, and putting them in the tin till it's full. You can drizzle a little olive oil on this if you want to. Cover this with tin foil as well, and then put it in the oven for about a half hour to 45 minutes, and the beets and the yams should get done at about the same time. Our root vegetables are roasting in the oven. We're gonna get started on that parsley topping. And this is so simple, you guys. 4 ingredients. 1/2 cup of raw sunflower seeds in there. And 1 clove of garlic. We'll just chop that really quick. 1 cup of fresh parsley. So, make it like half a bunch or so. You can rough chop that too, just to help it move around. And then the juice of 1/2 of a lemon. And blend until everything is mixed. And this is going to be somewhat of a dry topping, so it'll kind of crumble on the top. All right, that looks pretty good. As I said, it's going to be kind of a dry crumble, so some of those sunflower seeds will still be in pretty big pieces, and that's just fine. So we'll just set this aside till our vegetables are ready. So the vegetables are out of the oven. Remember, the yams were in there for 45 minutes of the time. The beets were in there for about an hour and 15 minutes. So now comes the messy part. So please be very careful. Don't wear a very nice shirt if you're doing this at home. Okay, open up the tin foil like that, and you'll see that there's all that beet juice in there in the bottom. So remember that knobby part that we still had? We're gonna cut that off, and I'm doing this over my baking sheet just so I don't stain the cutting board too much. So you'll see that it comes off very easily, and we still have the skin on the beets, and that is actually gonna peel off very, very easily now that they've been roasted. And if you're concerned about making a giant mess, which you can see this does, you can just use some gloves. Okay, so peel off all that skin. Of course, these are cool enough to handle. Don't want to do it right out of the oven. And now we have 2 of them there, and we're gonna slice these up. I might as well do that now while we're all messy. So our beets and our yams have cooled enough to the touch, and now we're just arranging them on a platter. And what's so neat about this dish is that with very little effort, it looks really, really beautiful. So you can see how pretty that looks. And we're gonna top that with a little bit of our parsley lemon crumble. There we go. Yum. It smells really good too. All right, guys, well that was easy. Not a lot of work, but a really big payoff. So here we go, roasted beets and yams with the parsley lemon crumble.